Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I know so many of you over on TikTok have been blowing up the comments asking for this, so today we're finally doing some customer reviews analysis for it. But before we dive into that, be sure to check out this exclusive discount available for it. You'll find it in the description and in the first comment under this video. Now, let's not waste any more time and jump right into the details.
Starting things off, our first reviewer gives us their perspective.
This reviewer found themselves struggling to locate comprehensive reviews before purchasing this device, prompting this contribution to aid fellow consumers. Our reviewer reports that the network-attached storage arrived impeccably packaged, including all necessary components. The drive trays, constructed from metal rather than plastic, were pre-drilled for both 3.5-inch and 2.5-inch drives, a detail this client appreciated. The device's aesthetic appeal was also noted, further enhanced by a convenient network discovery utility. This client found the user interface exceptionally intuitive and well-designed. Presented as a window desktop within a web browser, the interface was described as a pleasure to use. The speed of this product, particularly impressive, was highlighted. Configured with 10 16TB drives in RAID 5 and 2 1TB SSDs for caching, the system exhibited exceptional performance over the 10 gigabit Ethernet interface, surpassing even a USB 3 connected SSD RAID array in speed tests conducted by our reviewer. This product's feature set exceeded this client's expectations. Support for NFS, SMB, and ISCSI protocols ensured seamless integration with various operating systems. The extensive app library, complemented by a free developer environment for custom application creation, was also praised. Comprehensive monitoring capabilities, including temperature and smart data for hard drives and SSDs, as well as access monitoring, were deemed valuable additions. The front panel display, displaying the IP address and device name, was a feature that this client found particularly useful. Regarding upgrades, this client found the process of adding additional RAM straightforward. While acknowledging the high cost of manufacturer-supplied RAM, our reviewer opted for a more affordable third-party alternative which worked perfectly. Adding SSDs for caching was equally simple thanks to the inclusion of thumb screws instead of small screws. Customer support was also highly rated. This client received a prompt and helpful response regarding a network interface query, even though the requested functionality, multi-homing, was not yet supported. While largely positive, the review did mention a few caveats. The inability to multi-home network interfaces, limiting each interface to a single IP address, was a limitation. Although VLANs could be an alternative on compatible switches, this client's unmanaged switch lacked this functionality. The time required to create the RAID array was also longer than anticipated. Finally, the reporting of actual disk space, using powers of 2 instead of 10, while not a fault of the device, highlighted a common practice of disk manufacturers to inflate advertised capacity. In conclusion, our reviewer expressed overwhelming satisfaction, emphasizing this product's robust engineering and flawless performance. Despite the initial cost, this client considered this product a bargain considering its features, particularly the dual 10 gigabit Ethernet interface.
Great! Now let's see what our next reviewer has to say about their experience.
This reviewer begins by praising the high-quality build and compact design of this network-attached storage device. Our reviewer found it incredibly practical, easily fitting in the corner of a desk without producing any noticeable noise. The hardware installation was described as straightforward. After purchasing a compatible hard drive, this client followed the included instructions and successfully configured the device. However, while the software was deemed intuitive overall, our reviewer did find themselves needing to consult YouTube tutorials to fully understand certain configuration settings. This client admitted a lack of networking expertise and mentioned that, while the manufacturer's website offered tutorials, supplemental video guides proved necessary. The primary intended use was to create a private cloud for their work team, allowing for shared access and streamlined workflow management. This aspect presented a noteworthy challenge. Setting up alerts and external connections required configuring a custom SMTP server to send notifications under their domain. Using a standard Google SMTP service proved problematic, resulting in failed alerts. This client had to configure their domain and integrate an external SMTP solution to successfully enable access for individuals outside their local network. This client's current home internet speed, with a substantial download speed but a limited upload speed, significantly restricts the performance of this device. While the device supports high-speed networking, the client's existing network infrastructure is a bottleneck limiting transfer speeds to a few megabytes per second. This client acknowledges that they haven't yet fully realized the device's potential due to their current internet limitations and plans to upgrade to a symmetrical fiber optic connection to address this issue. Understanding the device's full capabilities requires a significant learning curve. Our reviewer highlighted that it's not a simple plug-and-play solution, emphasizing the need for a degree of technical knowledge, particularly regarding security configurations. This client suggested improvements to the device's documentation, particularly regarding security aspects and advanced settings. This client believes that more in-depth explanations in the manual are needed to ease the learning process. In conclusion, despite the initial hurdles with configuration and the current limitations imposed by their internet connection, this client offers an overwhelmingly positive review. This client plans to update their review once their network upgrade allows them to fully utilize the capabilities of this excellent device.
Wonderful. Now, let's explore the feedback from our next reviewer.
This reviewer, an IT professional with over 2 decades of experience, provides a detailed assessment of this network-attached storage device. Our reviewer found the device's specifications impressive for its cost, immediately upgrading the RAM to 16 GB. While this required disassembling the unit to access the motherboard, the process was deemed straightforward. This client strongly advocates for using an uninterruptible power supply, UPS, with any such device, emphasizing the file system's vulnerability to abrupt power loss. Pleasingly, the device readily recognized the connected UPS via a USB port, allowing for a programmed shutdown after a short power outage. For read caching, our reviewer recommends a single solid-state drive, SSD. Write caching, they suggest, requires 2 SSDs and is excessive for most users, posing a significant risk of file system corruption without a UPS. This client has successfully installed several applications, including the Surveillance Center software, which performed well, particularly when using the smartphone application for playback. However, our reviewer cautions against enabling external access features due to heightened ransomware vulnerability. They advocate instead for using a VPN on the router, combined with client applications on mobile devices, for secure remote access, a configuration that this client has yet to implement. Regarding RAID configurations, the reviewer recommends RAID 5 or 1, strongly advising against RAID 0 due to its lack of data redundancy. Our reviewer also shared experience with hard drive failure, highlighting the inevitability of this occurrence over time, underscoring the importance of RAID redundancy. However, this client also notes several areas for improvement. The advertised 10 gigabit Ethernet support, for instance, requires replacing the included network interface card, NIC, with a 10G NIC, and the lack of a second NIC slot is a shortcoming. The device's noise level is another concern, with the reviewer suggesting that sound insulation could be improved, particularly depending on the hard drives used. The application library, compared to competitors, was found to be less comprehensive, though our reviewer expresses hope for future growth. The surveillance center's camera compatibility was disappointing, with limited support for newer models, necessitating trials with several brands before finding a compatible solution. Finally, this client emphasizes the importance of configuring static IP addresses for both the device and any connected cameras, avoiding the potential for IP address changes upon reboot, a scenario to be avoided. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. Catch you in the next one.